things off here between Columbia and Princeton inside Levian Gymnasium with Susie Raffu and Parker Hill as a starting lineup for the Tigers. Ashley has emerged this season, and Columbia leaning on Kitty Henderson, who is top 10 in the Ivy League in scoring, rebounding, assists, and steals. She could do it all. Princeton off the opening tip. Working in the half-court set here with 10 on the shot clock. Chia leaves it to the cutting Hill, and that is as easy as a bucket you could have asked for to start this game.
Really nice high ball screen, and Parker Hill, a post player, getting the first bucket for Princeton. Lance, the style of play has kind of changed for the Tigers. We're going to see a lot more interior scoring this year.
Hill shooting an Ivy League best 69% from the field. The officials, Joseph Vasili, Karen Priato, and Brandon Interline. Collins with 10 on the shot clock. Working on Hill, leans in, awkward hook shot, denied there by Hill, and it was last touched by Columbia.
Princeton's quite tall in the interior. We're seeing exactly how the 6'4" Parker Hill, her length at the rim, is going to cause Columbia some having to think twice about how they get their shots off.
Well, Ellie Mitchell no longer on the team, the three-time Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year, Princeton's all-time leading rebounder. Not to say that she wasn't a scoring threat, but she did a lot of the dirty work. So now the front court players for Princeton are bigger threats on the scoring end as Chia steps back. The long-range jumper drops through, and Princeton starts things off with a 5-0 run.
That's the same step back that won Princeton the Harvard game in the last second as well.
Carla Berube this week saying this is nothing new for Chia. She did it going back to her high school days as Kitty Henderson able to salvage this possession for Columbia. Riley Weiss with the left hand can't finish. Hutcherson the rebound, who has started every game in the absence of Madison St. Rose, who is out for the season with a torn ACL. Suffered the injury 4 games into the season. Belker goes to work off the screen. 17 on the shot clock. The turnaround jumper up and in. And it is all Princeton. They have not missed a beat. 3 for 3 from the field.
Kitty Henderson taking her time, trying to get everybody on the same page. Big possession here for Columbia.
Lions have missed their first 3 field goal attempts. They come in shooting 44% for the field. That's second best in the Ivy League. Collins facing up on Tall. And another jumper does not fall the way of the Lions. Hill hustles on the floor, avoids the tie-up, gets it to Belter, and off to the races we go. Hutcherson, the Euro maneuver, pass wide out of play, and that'll be the first turnover for the Tigers. So there is Madison St. Rose on the bench for Princeton, out for the season, but she has remained very engaged with this team, Aaron.
Her leadership is still incredibly impactful, being able to travel, obviously at-home practices. That's how you can help your team when you physically can't play.
Weiss, ill-advised pass, stolen by Tall, and Princeton now can capitalize off the defensive stop. Belker short. Henderson the rebound, up ahead to Collins, just has to beat Chia, and does so at the rim to stop the 7-0 run.
No surprise that it comes in transition. Columbia likes to play in the open floor, likes to create their offense with steals, deflections, steals, block shots.
Collins coming off a 21-point performance in the win in New Haven over Yale on Saturday, one of 2 players to score 20-plus points. Weiss was the other. Chia going to work on Avlihash. Jumper blocked, loose ball. It's a hot potato. It ricochets out of play, and it was last touched by Princeton, so Columbia will retain possession. We'll have some changes in the lineup for Columbia as Avlihash and Collins head to the bench. Mia Broom in for the first time. She made her first career start Saturday against Yale. Raffu, Weiss, Henderson, and Collins is actually going to stay in the game to round out the 5. Broom leaves it for Kitty. Kitty double team. The feed to the cutting Raffu, who lays it in. And Columbia is starting to find rhythm on the offensive end.
Well, they're posting up their guards, Lance. That means they're pulling Parker Hill out from the hoop, allowing themselves easier access to the rim, the layups, exactly how Columbia likes to score.
Hill 6'4", So you could do wonders when you remove her from the paint, as Tall tries to finish on the offensive rebound to no avail. Collins there to clean it up, and the Lions looking to push the tempo as Princeton has missed its last 4 field goal attempts, a scoring drought of 2.5 minutes. Can Columbia take advantage? They'll slow things down with Raffu atop the key.
Trying to get 2 post players here involved in a handoff.
And Raffu can't get the roll over Hill. Hutcherson the rebound. And Chia will now orchestrate traffic back the other way.
Last year, actually, Chia was much more of a scorer. Caitlin Chen did a lot of the facilitating. This year, she's able to facilitate a lot more for Princeton.
Collins facilitating to Kitty Henderson underneath. And the Lions have responded with a 6-0 run to make it a 1-point game.
It goes without saying it's easier to score when you have an advantage or lack of defense. And Columbia's being able to create that for themselves with their defensive intensity and urgency.
Scoring drought over 3 minutes for Princeton. Can Hutcherson end it off the left side of the rim? Tall and Kitty tied up, and it will be a jump ball. Possession arrow going the opposite way to the Lions. And with that, timeout on the floor. Princeton jumped out to a 7-0 lead thanks to Ashley Chia, who showcased the range from downtown, but in the NCAA tournament with Columbia getting an at-large bid.
And Princeton was the only other team to receive an at-large bid from the Ivy League. And Lance, the last couple of years, all the conversation has been about Princeton, Columbia. It's great that Harvard is now joining that conversation, but these are the 2 top premier teams of the Ivy League in women's basketball.
As Kitty Henderson tries to get a good look underneath, ball deflected out of play. Princeton with a few changes as Chia in with Parker Hill and Belker, but joining the fold, Toby Nowacki, as well as Taylor Charles, who's coming off a career performance against Dartmouth on Saturday. And immediately, Nowacki grabs the rebound, as Toby is the younger sister of Chet Nowacki, who was on the team the previous 4 seasons. She was a defender and a solid rebounder. Toby known more for her scoring, as Chia leaves it for Hill with 15 on the shot clock. Belker sealed off by Weiss. In no woman's land, they feed it inside to Nowacki, and she's charged with a travel, and that is turnover number 3 for Princeton.
You're seeing the intensity, you're seeing the activity on the defensive end for Columbia. It took a couple possessions to get going, but certainly the identity, what we're accustomed to seeing from Columbia, is on display.
So the Lions with an opportunity to take their first lead of the game. Weiss off the curl, lets it fly. Chia goes up strongly, wins the battle with Broom, and Princeton will now settle down in the half court. Charles, the feed to Hill, stops, cuts through 2 defenders, and lays it in as Parker Hill has a pair of buckets.
So fundamental. Right, Lance comes to 2 feet, allows herself then the ability to pivot either way depending on where the defenders were. Really a solid move by a senior.
Just over 3 minutes to go in quarter number 1. Collins, the step-back jumper, and ring it up from downtown as we are knotted at 9.
You cannot go underneath a screen with CeCe Collins on you.
So Collins up to 5 points. As Belker will take over and feed it in the corner to Charles. Got right into the grill of Collins, and Collins draws the offensive foul, and that was our first tongue appearance by Cecilia Collins as well, who's very animated when she gets down and dirty on the floor.
We're going to take a look here. This is scouting report defense. She knows Belker's going to go to the right, and we're seeing just face 1 of CeCe Collins tonight in a game of 40 minutes.
There's going to have to be a documentary on that young lady at some point. One of the most colorful personalities in the league. And she has done wonders for this team after coming over from Bucknell. As Collins now will give it up to Broom. Loses her footing, and she absolutely took 1 too many steps, so that'll be turnover number 2 for Columbia.
I don't think Mia Broom there expected Fadima Tall to be standing in her way. Did not have plan B when she put the ball on the floor.
The Lions showing full court press. As Belker trying to break it down with Tall. And they do so successfully. Belker kicks it in the corner to Wecky. Back to Belker. They've got 15 on the shot clock. They go inside as Princeton, off a second chance opportunity, able to take advantage thanks to the presence of Tabitha Amanze, the junior out of Nigeria. And Amanze then denies Broom underneath. She's getting it done on both ends. Broom's going to maybe try again, loses the ball. It was deflected off of the Tigers. It will stay with Columbia.
So 6'4" Parker Hill takes a seat, and who is in there? The 6'4" Tabby Amanze. They can have somebody protecting the rim, protecting the paint at 6'4" for 40 straight minutes.
I don't think Amanze left her feet on that block. She just reached up. Avlihash having trouble. Dangerous pass inside to Kitty, who somehow gets it to roll her way, and we're back in a knot.
She used the very top of the glass.
Again, the Lions showing press. Bit helter-skelter. Princeton breaks it down. Noweke from the corner. Overshoots the rim. And Chia throws it away to Henderson. Henderson off to the races. Awkward floater, partially deflected. Amanze gets it, and she stepped out of play. And that will keep it with Columbia. And on that steal, Kitty Henderson now has broken a tie with her head coach, Megan Griffith. They were both tied for 5th place on the all-time Columbia list. Now Kitty has bragging rights on the top of the food chain. Weiss from the corner. And we can get it over the back. Perry Page jumped on top of Belker. So that is going to go against Page.
Here we see the steal by Kitty Henderson that gives her that bragging right. And then I think she just gets a little bit caught up. Amanze using her athleticism, her size.
Speaking of Amanze, the drop step around Rafu as both front court players, Amanze and Hill, setting the tone in the early stages of this one. They have combined for 8 of Princeton's 13 points. Henderson, off the tight defense, gives it up to Weiss. Dribbles right past Belker, in and out. Amanze the rebound. Outlet goes to Belker. And Princeton quickly back the other way. Under a minute to go in quarter number 1. As Chia and Belker, the top 2 scorers for the Tigers, working left side. 9 on the shot clock for Noweke. In a triangle, they get it to Tall, and a travel will give it back to Columbia. That's already 7 turnovers, Marin, for Princeton.
And you see the irritation on Carla Berrubi's face. Lance, we talked about how both of these coaches know each other so well. These are 2 of the most intense coaches in the country. Carla Berrubi imploring her team to get back on defense.
Princeton averages 15 mishaps a game, and they're already nearly halfway home. So Columbia can hold just about for the final shot. There's a 3-second differential between shot clock and game clock. Henderson, bullet feed inside to Page, could not handle it. And 1 turnover leads to another.
I really like the play. Everything short of the catch there by Perry Page. Cece Collins drew so much attention coming over the top of that flare screen by Page. She was able to slip. It was a great pass.
Tigers are shooting 46% for the field. Columbia just 29. Belker off to the races with 5 seconds to go. Tries to feed it inside to Amanze. Stolen by Rafuse. Going to have to put up the prayer from half court. And that will do it for the first 10 minutes of play. A back and forth affair. We wouldn't expect anything different. Cecilia Collins getting involved in the fun, setting the tone. Megan Griffith likes what she sees. Princeton has turned the ball over 8 times, yet they're still holding on to a 2-point lead here.
Columbia has only been able to score 2 points off of those turnovers, largely because Princeton can get back in on defense, and then they've got 3 block shots in the paint. Their size is affecting Columbia.
Hill having trouble, wins the battle with Page, gives it up to Hutcherson. And they'll reset with Chia. 8 on the shot clock. Comes around a screen, the pull-up jumper. And it falls into the hands of Henderson. Henderson with 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists after 1 quarter. Avlihash, the transfer from Ole Miss. Megan Griffith calling her one of the smartest players she's been around. She's been so quick to pick up the concepts and making her 7th start tonight. She's got 7 on the shot clock, trying to solve Chia with 5. They kick it out to Kitty. The step back 3 as the shot clock expires. Didn't look like it hit the rim. It makes no difference with Tall, grabbing the rebound. Hill, the drop step around Kitty Henderson, way too easy with that size advantage, as she is now once again establishing her presence inside with 6.
And what a simple but effective post move against Kitty Henderson or anybody.
Page splits 2 defenders and finishes inside at the expense of Hutcherson. So Perry on the board for the first time tonight. A completely different player, a year and a half removed from the torn ACL, and that is turnover number 9, a miscue between Hill and Perella, who just checked in the game for Princeton. And now we're going to have Columbia give Riley Weiss a breather. Mia Broom back in the game with Collins, Page, Henderson, and Avlihash. Collins fires from the top of the key, and Hutcherson hustles towards the loose ball. Columbia shooting just 6 of 20 from the field.
And with that low percentage, Lance, they only have 3 offensive rebounds, and that's something that Columbia is known for and is very good at, averaging 15 a game.
Their number 1 in the Ivy League is Hutcherson is able to get it to bounce her way, and Princeton continues to pad its lead. Hutcherson, the sophomore out of Johns Creek, Georgia, D'ing up Kitty Henderson. And this is going to go the opposite way. An offensive foul. It's going to go against Perry Page. That'll be number 2 on her. And the team's first here in the second is Page talking things over with Megan Griffith as she heads to the bench. Susie Raffu back in for her. So Columbia has 4 turnovers. Princeton has 9. And each team has only scored 2 points off of those issues. That's why the Tigers have been able to maintain their lead. Hill facing up on Raffu. Perella leaves it for Chia. Off the crossover, lose her footing. Broom, clear path to the bucket, stops, pops, and misses on the bunny. And Perella is there to clean it up as Columbia had a golden opportunity to make Princeton pay. And Marin, those are the circumstances that we've been talking about in the early stages of this one.
And that's Mia Broom getting a little bit deep.
Chia getting deep into the baseline, knocks it through. A 6-point advantage for Princeton.
I really like how Ashley Chia can elevate. She's got a high release for her size, so strong.
And that's the difference between Chia versus Caitlin Chen, former Ivy League Player of the Year. They both have the capacity to score, but Chia a little bit further away from the bucket as Collins with a nifty move at the rim. Princeton has made its last 3 field goal attempts and has an opportunity to make it 4 for 4. Perella, the freshman out of New Jersey, gives it up to Chia. Princeton shooting 53% for the field as Chia trying to create her own shot. Doubled in the corner, 7 for Tall, and a bump out on the baseline by Broom. That'll be her first. As Belker returns for Princeton, Perella takes a seat, and Kitty will replace Broom for Columbia.
Broom's a freshman, a first-year player here for the Lions. Extremely physical, very smart.
Megan Griffin says she plays with a huge chip on her shoulder because she's been underused and a bit undersized throughout her career, but she is so motivated to make a statement here as Princeton able to get the stop. It will stay with Columbia. All of her teammates have called her the most eager freshman they've ever been around.
You talk about maybe underused or under-talked about. Olivia Hutcherson for Princeton just got that block. I think she gets that same type of treatment.
I don't know if Riley Weiss falls under that umbrella. She's been used plenty, but has not been able to find the touch. She's 0 for 6. Columbia's top scorer on the season and the number 1 3-point shooter in the league. Ball off the crossover, barreling her way through traffic and laying it in right around the cup.
That's a phenomenal combination of strength and athleticism. Oftentimes you get one without the other.
And it's been Tall, it's been Hill, it's been Amanze, all 3 front court players. Weiss, difficult shot. Raffu through 2 defenders is there to clean it up. And Columbia continuing to stay with Princeton. And that is a staple of their game. That's now 5 offensive rebounds for the Lions, 4 second chance points. Carla Berube said everyone has to be involved hustling towards the ball and finding their offensive assignment as Hill again is able to solve the riddle underneath.
She baits the defender to the middle, able to go over her left shoulder, use her right hand off the glass.
She has not missed a shot. 8 points on 4 of 4 shooting. Columbia throws it away, and Belker realizes she doesn't have the numbers, so wisely will try to play keep away, but Avlihash not having it. 4-on-1 break for Columbia. Collins fakes the pass, lays it in, and Princeton is going to wave it off as a result of Ashley Chia sacrificing her body.
Plugging away. It's great to see a player in a program. I know we can't say this about a lot of places, but somebody stick around, stick out the development process, and be rewarded at an extremely high level.
Product of Winston Churchill High School, the all-time leading shot blocker there. She became the first freshman in school history to record a triple-double. Paid her dues, to your point, Maren, when she came to Princeton. When you have Ellie Mitchell playing in front of you, you're not going to get as many minutes as Sky Belker can't finish on the scoop shot, and it will head back to Columbia, but it speaks volumes of the dedication of the players to the program and the ability for Carla Berube and her staff to little by little anticipate, okay, we're going to lose a player, and then we can at least point to A and B to fill the void. 3.5 to go in the second quarter, with Columbia still struggling from the field at 31%. Hitty with 5, trying to find an alley, loses the ball in the process of trying to throw it up, and it was last touched by her with 1 on the shot clock, so it is going to head back to Princeton.
You're really seeing Princeton's size on the defensive end. They're long, they're quick, they're extremely physical. Columbia seems to be playing offensively a step behind the three-point line.
A nice give and go between Hutcherson and Belker leads her right to the bucket. And Princeton again in total control of this one, up by 8.
Simple execution there on the offensive end for the Tigers.
And we see 20 points in the paint for Princeton. Raffu will give it up in the corner. Riley Weiss 0 for 7 from the field. 10 on the shot clock for Cece. Dangerous pass intended for Raffu, stolen by Chia. Turnover number 8 for Columbia. Princeton has scored 4 points off of these mishaps. Can they make it more? Hutcherson surveying the field, and over the head of Nowicki will give it back to Columbia. That's now 12 turnovers for the Tigers.
Princeton's defense allows them to play a little bit loose or a little bit more risky on the offensive end because of their size, their ability to protect the paint with their height. No coach is happy with 12 turnovers in the first half, but when you've got defense like Princeton does.
As Kitty Henderson in and out off the rim. Amanze the rebound. Columbia on a scoring drought of nearly 3 minutes. Princeton has hit 6 of its last 8 field goal attempts. And they are slowing things down here with under 2 minutes to go in the first half. The extra pass in the corner to Chia, and she drops it through. Ashley with 8 points, and it is a double-digit lead for the Tigers.
You saw that extra pass from Olivia Hutcherson coming well before she received the ball. She knew who's hot.
So Chia with now a team-high 35 made threes for Princeton. And Columbia still searching for answers. And stopping the bleeding, a 7-0 run for Princeton. Collins gives it up to Weiss. And the drought continues for Riley, who is now 0 for 9 from the field. Here's the last triple for Princeton.
Look at that extra pass. Hutcherson hardly had the ball in her hand. Those are unselfish, winning plays. Understanding it's bigger than you. You have a good shot. Actually, Chia's got a great shot.
And that, once again, is what they gain by having now her in that position compared to Chen. Chen was a prolific scorer in her own right, but wasn't necessarily a sharpshooter from beyond the arc.
Probably would not have taken that three, to your point, Lance. Maybe a shot fake, one dribble pull-up.
Amanze working on Rafu. Lost the ball, picks it up, and finishes right again at the rim. A field day for the Princeton front court. Kitty leaves it for Avlihash from the corner, extends, and finds the bottom of the net for a trifecta.
Only Columbia's second three of the game, now 2 for 11. Does that allow Riley Weiss to start seeing the ball go through the hoop? Does that give her some confidence?
Paul leaves it for Nowecki. And Nowecki, indecisive, travels. 13 turnovers for Princeton. They've got 4 more turnovers than made field goals for Columbia in this game.
And they're up 10. Sometimes you got to watch the game. You can't look at the stat sheet because the numbers don't always make sense.
And this game absolutely applies. But it's been also Princeton's balanced attack and their ability to find easy looks underneath. See, unlike Columbia, they have not had to rely on the 3-ball, Marin, in this contest. 10 seconds and counting here in the first half. Columbia holding for last licks. Henderson has a step on the defense, puts it up. Tall there for the rebound, and she is going to get it up, but it's well short. But Princeton still has no complaints. They will take a 10-point lead into the locker room on 58% shooting from the field. And everybody who is a forward and a center, Marin, was able to capitalize.
They took advantage. That is the Tigers taking advantage of their size, both on the offensive end, buckets at a high rate. But that's a great squad. And I really like for the Ivy League that they've got 3 there in the top 5.
And remember, 2 years ago, Harvard ousted Columbia in the semifinals of the Ivy League tournament and wound up falling to Princeton in the championship game as Belker is able to get right in the passing lane and take it away from Collins. Turnover number 9 for the Lions. And that certainly is not going to help your cause when you're trailing already by 10. Hill tries to feed it inside to Hutcherson, and Rafu gets in the way. So one turnover into another. Weiss left all alone. In and out, cannot buy a bucket tonight, but Rafu can claim an offensive rebound, and it's an 8-point game.
They're not going to get any more wide open or easier for Riley Weiss. She's still smiling, she's clapping.
One of the things that Megan Griffith talked about last season, the little things would get to Riley Weiss. If this was last season, something tells me, Marin, she wouldn't be smiling. But she's matured so much this year that she doesn't let struggles like that get to her so easily.
She probably wouldn't be shooting.
I think that's very well said. Chia continues to shoot, and she gets it to bounce in off the fadeaway jumper. As Chia in double figures with 10. The first player to get there in this game.
You can tell the confidence that Columbia has in Riley Weiss. They're still setting the flare screens for her, still looking for her.
So now Columbia in double digits with turnovers. Shia gets the screen from Hill. You do not want to give her space. Rattles off the rim. Hutcherson there for the offensive rebound. She's in no woman's land and somehow escapes. 15 on the shot clock. Rafu picks the pocket of Belker, and it's off to the races. 4-on-2. Kitty Henderson kicks it in the corner to Weiss. Belker regroups. Weiss on the floor. Out to Kitty. Her three. Hill had it, and Belker in the right place at the right time, and she is able to calm things down. Columbia shooting 30% from the field. Princeton still at 58. The Lions are just 2 of 14 from beyond the arc. Princeton has only put up 6 threes. 5 on the shot clock. The prayer straight away. Air ball by Tall. And that will go back to Columbia as Perry Page re-enters the game. And Riley Weiss is going to get a breather. Belker will head to the bench for Princeton. And it will be Nowicki replacing her.
I don't think that was the shot by Fadima Tall at the top of the key. There was plenty of time for another pass or two. We talk about faces here during the game. Carla Berube face did not like that shot.
Can't argue from that perspective. We approach 7 minutes here in the third. Danny Henderson working on Hutcherson. Page wasn't able to create space. Raffu has the range, and she is able to drop it through. Susie ends a 2-minute scoring drought for Columbia and a much-needed bucket for the Lions. So Kitty Henderson on that basket makes it 430 career assists. So she's now tied for second in Lions history. Hutcherson off the mark. Page the rebound. And the Lions look at the push. Perry spots up Kitty. Takes it to the rim. And count the bucket plus the foul, as that has brought the crowd to its feet here inside Levian.
We'll take a look at this baseline drive. If you've watched Columbia basketball at all in the last 3.5 years, you know Kitty Henderson is one tough kid. She is not dissuaded by any post player, any size in the paint.
So Henderson will go to the line. She's only a 48% free throw shooter. This is actually the first attempt of the game for the Lions. And does not get it to bounce her way. Not able to complete the three-point play. Princeton is on a scoring drought of 2.5 minutes. But despite that, the Tigers still shooting well over 50% for the field. Shia leaves it for Tall. Belker off the pump, creates space, and Page comes in for the rebound. And Collins looking for an alley. Working on Nowicki. The double by Hill, out to a wide open Page, and she turns the page in favor of Columbia, and just like that, it's a 2-point affair.
Inside out, CeCe Collins making the defenders double team her on the block. Perry Page wide open for that three. They got this crowd engaged.
An 8-0 run for the Lions in just over a minute. Princeton has gone over 3 minutes without scoring. Trying to get it inside to Hill. They reset with Tall. 4 on the clock. 2. Double teamed and a jump ball forced. And the possession arrow. They're going to confer here though first. Call initially was a jump ball, but now we're going to have a conference. There is no time right now on the shot clock. So perhaps that is part of the discussion. It's going to be a media timeout. They're going to check the clock. So they'll take another look at the end of this possession with 5:16 to go in the third as Joe Vasili comes over to explain things to Megan Griffith. Outstanding defense on that possession by Columbia. With that, we'll step aside. The Lions roaring, fires and connects. Textbook basketball off the inbounds. And that is what you call turning something out of nothing.
Surprising that was not something for Parker Hill in the paint, that they went to option 3 or 4. Credit Columbia's defense there.
Raffu down low on Hill, and she is able to beat her to the spot, and it stays a 2-point game.
Beat her to the spot and also beat her at her own post move. That same bait middle, come back baseline, use the glass, high off the glass.
So Raffu is in double figures for the second time this season, leading the way with 11 points on 5 of 6 shooting. Hill hands off to Belker. 5 on the shot clock. They go inside now to Hill. Can she return the favor on Raffu? Yes, she can. A difficult shot, and she gets it to go. Parker Hill is perfect. 5 for 5 from the field.
And Lance, that was really good defense there by Susie Raffu. Just better offense. A lot of patience there by Parker Hill.
Collins gives it up to Oblihash. 13 on the shot clock, the pull-up jumper. Right into the hands of Kitty. Gets tied up, wins the battle. Page straight away wide open. Well off the mark. Oblihash another offensive rebound. And the Lions now will reset here.
Offensive rebound number 8. Columbia has scored 6 points in those second chance opportunities. Can they extend that?
Oblihash trying to dump it down low to Raffu. There was contact as Raffu was cutting to the bucket. They're going to get Belker on the foul. That's number 1 on her and the team's second. And with that, timeout on the floor. Princeton leading Columbia by 4 as the Tigers still shooting 55 here inside Levitt Gymnasium. It was a 10-point game at the break. Columbia pulled within 2, now trailing by 4. And they have been hustling for some offensive boards. That has been the difference. They got 20 on the shot clock. Collins leaves it for Henderson, who is able to give it up to Page, who will reset. Weiss and Raffu round out the 5. Kitty off the dribble with 6. Raffu already hit a 3 in this game. She's going to stay with just 1 as Amanze grabs the rebound. And Princeton able to keep the Lions in check still from 3-point range. They're 4 of 18. Belker trying to get it inside to Amanze, and Page and Collins able to come through with the tag team steal. 16 turnovers for Princeton. That's 1 more than their season average.
Amanze had Page on her back, but that pass needs to be a bounce pass into the post.
Weiss looking for her first bucket, and at least her first points may come from the free throw line because she was fouled in the process.
She takes it off the glass. Takes it off the bounce, trying to go off the glass. The help never comes. But Ashley Chia got a little bit greedy, wanted it on the block action, got called for the whistle.
As Riley Weiss comes in at 84%. So that is her first point tonight. She's 0 for 10 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3-point land. It was the first foul against Chia, the team's 3rd. Sophomore out of Hewlett, New York, who leads the team in scoring, is 3rd in the Ivy League at over 17 a game, now has her first 2 points.
He made a very valid point. As a sophomore, has worked through some things, still able to contribute.
As Hutcherson, short, but Amanze able to tap it out to Belker, and Princeton with a second chance opportunity.
That's Princeton's 5th offensive rebound. Same play as the possession before, and this time Princeton's called for another turnover, this one on the inside, moving of the feet. Maybe the 3rd time's a charm for Princeton there. It's a great play. It's isolation on the block. Amanze is a phenomenal post player, great length, great athleticism.
17 turnovers for Princeton. Columbia, though, has only scored 6 points. Can Collins make it 8? Hutcherson able to get a piece of that. Amanze the rebound, and Hutcherson now entering the front court on the attack. Is Princeton trying to end a scoring drought of nearly 2.5 minutes? Columbia has not hit a field goal in nearly 3, so both teams cooling off. She has got 12, and she's going to stay there. Loose ball tapped around. Collins comes down with it and draws the foul against Hutcherson. That is her first and the team's 4th.
Wow, the foul action really has not been much of play yet today, Lance. I feel like it's been a very aggressive game, but at the same time, a very clean game. Now that's 4 here on Princeton. How does that impact the play calls for Columbia? Do they attack?
Collins attacking and striking.
Or do they shoot threes?
And with that, Columbia moves in front for the first time in this game. Amanze, the short J, air ball. Hutcherson comes out of nowhere to grab the board, and with a minute to go in the third, Princeton still seeking an end to a scoring drought of nearly 3.5 minutes. Around the perimeter it goes. Paul left all alone. Hutcherson got a piece of it. Kitty grabs the rebound, and the Lions can pad a 1-point lead with under a minute to go. Page fakes the pass, drives through traffic, draws the foul as Princeton picks up its 15th foul, and Hutcherson down on the other end was shaken up. So they were playing 5-on-4 basketball for that last possession.
And I don't think that Columbia really realized that.
So Nowicki will replace Hutcherson.
We're taking a second look here. Just an inadvertent fall there, obviously still painful for Olivia Hutcherson. I wanted to say I was surprised that we didn't get a review to see if there's anything above the neck or shoulders, but taking a look at the replay.
Well, Page is a 59% free throw shooter. Columbia, 3 of 4 from the line as a team. And Perry Page is able to take advantage of both. Princeton has not attempted a free throw in this game, and they have not scored in about 4 minutes. It's a 7-0 run for Columbia off Amanze's fingertips into the hands of Raffu. The turnovers pile up, and Columbia can hold for the final shot of the quarter as Megan Griffith telling her team, kick it out and don't look to attack just yet.
Columbia wants to take this shot with about 4 left on the clock. Opportunity for an offensive rebound.
Kitty off the dribble, and she is able to head to the line as a result of another foul against Princeton. And boy, have the tables turned in this contest.
We see a quick reversal. No help, slow help coming from the weak side. Kitty Henderson finds herself back at the line.
Manze's second. Kitty below 50% on the season. So she'll have another one coming here. The Lions are outscoring the Tigers 20-6 in this third quarter. And that's how you make up for a 10-point deficit at the break. And a whistle coming in before the free throw. And they're going to wave it off, a lane violation. It's funny because Collins was celebrating as if it went against Princeton. Tigers with an opportunity here, and they're not going to get a shot off. 3 quarters in the books in New York City. And the Lions now seizing control thanks to this young lady. CeCe Collins, the go-ahead bucket straight away. Having a ball of a time on the floor of Cecilia Collins.
Megan Griffith talked to us earlier in the week, and she said, man, she's the kind of player you just really wish you had for 4 years. She's always in a good mood. She's always in a great headspace. She's an energy giver. She's just somebody that you want to be around as much as possible, and they are certainly soaking up their time with CeCe Collins.
One of the terms that Megan Griffith utilized when describing Collins, selfless. She's able to sacrifice without any hesitation, and her leadership is really an outlier because you don't see a lot of players come in that quickly to a program during the middle of their career and have a seamless transition. She fell right in line with her new teammates. She's one of 2 players to score in double figures for Columbia in this game. Raffu the other with a team-high 11. Columbia in possession to start the fourth. They're up to 36% shooting from the field. Avlihash gives it up to Page. She already hit a 3 in this game. Unable to capitalize there. Toll the rebound, and she'll play point guard here. Hall gets tripped up. Avlihash and Henderson were in the vicinity. They're getting on Avlihash with the personal. So that'll be number 1 on her. And the team's first here in the fourth. It's Chia, Belker, Hill, Tall, and Hutcherson back in the game after getting shaken up late in the third.
Yeah, you like to see her come back in, obviously, after.
Well, Carla Berube not liking another turnover as Collins bounces it for Raffew, and Susie with 13 points in unstoppable front court presence.
Those count as points in the paint and fast break points for Columbia.
She has been efficient, 6 of 8 shooting. Hill hasn't missed the shot, but right now, somebody else needs to answer the call for Princeton. Tall, the spin around Perry, and capitalizes at the cup.
Good first step, used her body there. Create that distance and that space.
Collins off the cross-court feed. Long rebound to Raffew. Raffew again working on Hill. Can't finish with the left. It was last touched by Columbia. It will go back to Princeton.
Megan Griffin imploring her interior players to continue.
And Chia throws it into open space somehow. Tall is able to save it. Belker threads the needle to Hutcherson, and it was off of Olivia Last. 20 turnovers for Princeton, and you could tell Berube just shaking her head.
Lance, that was going to be a turnover one way or the other. Actually, Chia found herself in the not good place of right over half court, getting trapped, just got rid of the ball. They dodged a bullet there, only to turn it over a couple seconds later.
Yeah, Martin, she drove and dribbled right into the double team, which is a major no-no.
And Columbia saw that blood and it instantly went to get that double team.
Riley Weiss again off the mark. She's 0 for 11. Collins with open space takes advantage, and Cecilia's up to 12.
Carla Berube is irate that was not called a moving screen on Susie Raffew, who was posting up, creating that open lane.
Columbia is outscoring Princeton 24-8 in the second half. Shia fakes going around the screen, gives it back to Tall. Dangerous pass broken up by Columbia. It will stay with the Tigers with 7 on the shot clock, and Carla Berube animated after one possession after another.
This is a Princeton team that averages 15 turnovers a game. And that's what you saw there, was just carelessness in valuing the basketball.
Shia with 3. They're not even going to get a shot off. It's going to be a shot clock violation, and that's going to be yet another turnover.
I know they don't ask us, Lance, but when they ask coaches, like, what is one rule that you'd like to see changed? I think if the shot clock goes off and the defense has possession or is in the midst of getting that defensive rebound and possession, that they are able to continue to play.
Stoppage of play here, but now we're going to resume with 7:10 here on the clock in the fourth. And what's also changing in this game, Marin, is in the first half, Columbia was not making Princeton pay for the turnovers. Now all of a sudden they're up to 11 points off of 20-plus mishaps. Avlihash has room on the left side. Weiss off the curl, looking for her first make, and give it to her. The 12th time is a charm for Riley.
I'm sure that's what she was thinking. A 12th time.
She consulted with me before the game. Tall stops, and the double clutch maneuver, unable to roll her way, but she will head to the free throw line. That is the team's second against Columbia, and it's going to be number 2 on Collins.
Lance, you're talking about Princeton's turnovers. In the first half, Princeton had 13 turnovers, and Columbia was able to capitalize on exactly 2 points. Now you fast forward here to the last 14 minutes, and Princeton has committed 8 turnovers, and Columbia has turned that into 12 points. That's the game right there, taking advantage of the turnovers and the extra possessions.
So what you just saw, the first free throw attempt for the Tigers in the form of Fatima Tall, 76% shooter. And she's up and in on both. This is a Princeton team that in 2 of their first 3 Ivy League games held their opponents to 39 points exactly. Harvard in the other game scored 50. Columbia is up to 47 with still 6.5 to go. So that is quite the achievement. Hitty sealed off, and it's blocked by Hutcherson. Princeton's coming off a game in which they had 10 blocks, and they've got 6 tonight. And Chia loses control of the ball as Page flustered her, and another missed opportunity for the Tigers.
Katie Henderson just trying.
As Avlihash
Almost looked like she inadvertently got kneed or kicked, maybe the shin to her face.
Well, remember, Avlihash is coming from the SEC, so nothing she can't handle.
Are you saying she's tough as well?
I'm not questioning the physicality of the Ivy League, but SEC basketball, I mean, you can speak from experience in terms of your playing career, so you understand what she has been battle-tested with in the early stages. Is Megan Griffith talking things over with Karen Priato, and I guess she's maybe arguing the point about Avlihash being hit and perhaps them taking another look at that, and it looks like they may take another glance with 6:12 to go here in the fourth. 7-point lead in favor of Columbia. We will step aside. Columbia basketball on SNY. Incidental contact made with Avlihash, who clearly has a welt now on her forehead that she is having attended to, but they did not rule it was a flagrant. Incidental contact was their wording, so play will resume business as usual. And something tells me we have not seen the last of Avlihash, and that was quick because she's back on the court with Weiss, Page, Collins, and Henderson. With Columbia up by 7, outscoring Princeton 27-10 in the second half. Weiss is 1 for 12 from the field. The extra pass to Cece. Ring it up from downtown. Collins with the hot hand. She's up to 15.
You said that extra pass in the first half.
Extra pass for Princeton. Hutcherson can't roll it in. And it rolls right into the hands of Perry Page. And Columbia will have an opportunity to add to a 10-point lead. Down by 10 at the break, up by 10 here in the fourth.
The stats say that was only Perry Page's 3rd rebound. I feel like she's gotten more than 3, or at least those 3 have been incredibly impactful.
Seems like you have a meeting set with the statistician after the game as we look at the ball movement here for the Lions.
So there's help, but there's no help to help her. Parker Hill, is a second late. Even her length is not going to deter a shooter like Cece Collins.
So the Lions coughed up the basketball for the 12th time. Princeton has not had a field goal in 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Hall at the rim and is able to bank it in, muscling her way around Collins. And despite the scoring droughts, Princeton is still shooting 50% from the field in this game. Page off the dribble, sealed off. Avlihash goes back door. Hill not able to stop her going reverse. Maria to the rescue, and it's back to a 10-point lead.
Wow. That showed a lot of guts.
Now you know why I commended her coming from the SEC.
Absolutely.
Belker. Awkward floater. In and out. Right into the hands of Nowicki. And that is what you call perfect timing and placement.
You're in the right place at the right time because you work hard. Toby Nowacki is constantly in motion, a high-energy player.
And she watched a lot of games in this gym when her older brother, Ike, played for the Columbia men's team for 2 seasons. Raffu stops. Can't pop it through. Tall goes down awkwardly. And Princeton orchestrating traffic here in the half-court set. And a reach-in foul against Raffu, who was attempting to poke the ball away from Hill. That'll be the first on Susie.
I like the decision there. Going back in to Parker Hill. She's 5 for 5 from the field. Only one of those has come here in the second half.
Shia off the curl. Henderson through 2 defenders, able to secure the board, and she's looking to push. Kitty going coast to coast and swatted out of play by Parker Hill. It's not just about offense. She's one of the top 3 shot blockers in the Ivy League.
Look at that. She goes up and gets it at its highest point. Parker Hill, that is. She doesn't come down. She's not trying to be a volleyball player there. She's letting Kitty Henderson basically shoot it right into her hands.
They go up top to Cece, off the jump to Weiss. Riley has 5 points. She's just 1 of 12 from the field. Collins working on Chia. Spins, fires, and rolls it in with the left hand. Cecilia Collins, a woman on a mission. She's got 17.
It doesn't have to be the post players that score in the paint for Columbia. They're finding a way to find the mismatch and get Ashley Chia on the block.
The Lions are relentless. They're not giving in. Chia puts up the 3 and connects.
And now Princeton is trying to speed up the game. They wanted to press there.
Kitty splits the defense. Didn't have anything to work with. Hill out on the perimeter. Can Kitty beat her to the spot? And no, she can't. Parker Hill, emphatic. 8 blocks for the Tigers.
Give Parker Hill a ton of credit here. She gets beat off the dribble, but does not give up on the play. You see a little look in her face there. She's like, yeah, that's 2 in a row. Columbia, don't come in here again.
If you're a Columbia player, you go to the rim at your own risk. 11 on the shot clock. Collins feeds it into Page. Henderson with 5. The step back, the 3. And it's Tall cleaning it up. Shia had a 3 on the last possession, getting closer to the bucket and drawing the foul as Ashley will head to the line for the first time tonight.
Look at this transition opportunity. Man, Kitty Henderson sacrifices her body. But give the sophomore Ashley Chia a ton of credit. Going in hard, finding herself at the line. Now, Princeton's only been there twice. They've made both free throws, but these are key free throws, obviously, to cut the differential, but also to allow Princeton to set up in their press.
Shia is their best free throw shooter at 82%. We just lay out the facts and the numbers. Some will call it a broadcaster's jinx. I will vehemently disagree.
Facts. We're just spewing facts.
And now Chia trying to redeem herself. Foul was on Kitty Henderson. That was her first. And a ring around the rosy. Nothing has come easy in the second half for Princeton. Collins with the baseball pass. Up ahead to a wide open Kitty. Catches up with it. Misses on the bunny. Weiss there for the rebound, and the Lions can milk some clock. And they're going to have to reset the clock with 2:03 to go because it was an offensive rebound and the ball hit the rim.
I love the heads up, the awareness. I believe it was CeCe Collins that threw that baseball pass to release pressure immediately.
And it was perfectly positioned. Kitty could not take advantage. Collins now trying to do it all on her own. Behind the back to Rafu. The extra pass out to Weiss. Give it to her again. Riley. It's been an eventful night. But when she has come up in the clutch, she has delivered.
Shoot or shoot. When in doubt, shoot. Be in doubt always.
A 9-point lead for Columbia in a game they trailed by 10 at the break. They go inside to Hill. She's perfect from the field, and she'll stay that way. 6 of 6. And a timeout taken by Princeton with 1:26 to go. Every time Columbia looks like they're going to run away with things, Marin, Princeton immediately strikes back as we take a look at some of the recent highlights here on offense for the Lions.
I mean, this is a big one right here. Completely unfazed by the size. And now look at taking the mouse in the house into the paint. And of course, CeCe Collins adds a little flair to it. And that one more pass. 7-point lead here for Columbia. Got to believe that Princeton is going to continue to press. And if I'm Princeton, I'm getting the basketball into Parker Hill. She's done a nice job on the defensive end for Princeton. And she's also money on the offensive end.
Parker Hill filling up the stat sheet. 12 points on 6 of 6 shooting. A pair of blocks. You could argue, why haven't they given her maybe additional looks? But in fairness, Marin, one of the things that you brought up earlier in the contest is the Lions have made those entry passes quite difficult in the final 2 quarters.
I think that Princeton has had the play design to get the basketball inside, but Columbia has been very urgent, very active on the perimeter, forcing 22 turnovers for Princeton. So it's a two-part problem for Princeton and a two-part solution. Ball fake for Princeton on the perimeter while maintaining that nice, large post-up position. But right now, Princeton needs to speed up the pace.
Full court press shown by Princeton as Collins runs the baseline. Gets it to Rafu. Princeton has no fouls against them in this quarter, keep in mind. So if they do want to slow this down, they got a lot of catch-up to do.
It's a little too late in the shot clock now to foul.
Chia reaching in on Collins, dangerous there. 7 on the shot clock, and at that point, Marin, it's probably best to let Columbia play out the possession.
And that's exactly what Carla Berube is telling the young sophomore. Ashley Chia, with all due respect, probably lost her mind there a little bit, understanding we're supposed to get the ball back, we're supposed to foul it, and not inserting the idea that with that foul, now they go back to 20 on the shot clock.
But Kitty Henderson misses, and it's a quick miss. However, a steal by Avlihash in the backcourt, and it's now 23 turnovers for the Tigers, and another foul against Princeton. Hutcherson will pick up her second as we look at the hands by Maria.
Just simply a lazy pass there by Olivia Hutcherson. With Avlihash just paying attention, staying with the very aggressive mindset.
12 steals for Columbia. And they are second in the Ivy League with 9 a game. And Hill bumps Weiss. So that'll be number 1 on Hill and the team's third. So they still have 2 more fouls to commit before we even entertain free throws. And Nowecki joins the party by grabbing Collins. So for housekeeping purposes, that is her first.
We're going to keep the book straight, is what you're saying?
Try to be accurate from start to finish. Now, what do you think is going to happen here if Columbia successfully inbounds? They go for the tie-up, and then a foul. And this one will go against Belker. That'll be number 2 on her.
Weiss decision there to try to go for the jump ball or for the double team. The possession arrow does go to Princeton, but time is of the essence here. I would expect as soon as Princeton gains possession, whether it's after the second made foul shot by CeCe Collins or a defensive rebound, that Princeton calls a timeout here to advance the basketball.
And Collins off the back iron on the first. He comes in at 70% on the season. Lions are now 5 of 7 from the free throw line. And this is where you want to pad the lead, not give Princeton a door open. And Collins misses both, but it was last touched by Fadima Tall, and it is going to stay with Columbia. If that is not a fortuitous bounce, I don't know what is.
Absolutely, and now Columbia needs to safely inbound the ball. If they cannot get it in, a timeout or a dead ball turnover, they were able to inbound.
And Nowacki will then foul Collins from behind. So Collins is going to go back to the line where she just missed both. And that is the rare blemish on the resume for CeCe tonight, who has been outstanding. 17 points on 7 of 11 shooting. 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And all she could do is clap it off at this point. And Princeton is keeping hope alive. And Collins makes 1 out of 4. So Carla Berube is going to take a timeout. That'll leave Princeton with 1. And they'll try to orchestrate and set up a play down by 8 with 31 seconds to go. You would say, okay, well, you want to lean on your front court, but Marin, at this point, Princeton also has to entertain outside shooting because time is of the essence and they have very few possessions left, if any.
You're looking for the first available shot. I would expect there'll be some sort of flare screen action as well as an interior post-up position opportunity for Parker Hill. The ball has been advanced, will be inbounded opposite us. I got to believe there's going to be a cross screen here. Nowacki to Hill, looking for that post-up.
They are just 3 of 11 from beyond the arc. Though they do shoot 35% from long range, and that is first in the Ivy League. And an ill-advised pass, Tall saves it, but to the wrong player. Kitty with steal number 13 for Columbia. And it looks like they're just going to run out the clock. Princeton pulling off the army of defenders. The Lions with their first home game in 47 days. And they are going to pick up where they left off. It is now 18 straight consecutive home victories in the regular season. The Lions strike first against Princeton and are all alone in first place in the Ivy League standings at 4-0.
Talk about a comeback here in the second half for Columbia. As you mentioned, those 47 days away from Levian Gymnasium, they want to make sure that their fans are coming back. What a fantastic start to home Ivy play for Columbia.
They were trailing by 10 at halftime.